Merch alert.
That's right, you heard her. We have merch now. If you're looking for a mug, a hoodie, a shirt, a blanket, we're your people. Be sure to check out our exclusive I Was a Bravo Fan Before Scandal tees. They will be perfect to wear while watching the VPR reunion.
Check out the link in the description of the podcast or our Instagram bio. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
We are
hello,
so
y'all.
excited. Yo, we are so excited because we have a treat for you. We told y'all to watch Fight Night, okay? And when we tell you to watch something, we tell you to watch something because we want to talk about it with you, but also sometimes we have a little treat. And today,
Mm-hmm.
tell the people.
Today we have Miss Artrece Johnson, who is actually the wife of Chicken. She plays Fate on Fight Night, and we had a lovely chat with her. We can't wait for you guys to hear it. And she's gonna be our Black Excellence too because she was excellent as hell, like all the way through. From the first second she
Yeah.
came on, she's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. She gives you words of
Gorgeous.
wisdoms. She's dropping
Mm-hmm.
gems. We're
Mm-hmm.
literally taking y'all to church.
Amen. Throughout the whole
Hmm.
interview, even if you didn't watch Fight Night, which you should have,
Yeah, you
listen
should
to the
have.
interview anyway, because this literally, like, it will help you step into your purpose. Like that's the only thing that I can say. If you don't watch any show at all, just hearing how she even got the role is so
Yes.
inspiring. So that's what we have for the second part of this show. But the first part of the show, obviously, she is our Black Excellence. So Black Excellence Award goes to Artrece Johnson. But the first part, we are going to talk a little bit about Love is Blind, obviously, and then we're going to give you the interview and we'll be done for today and we'll be back on Saturday. So, obviously, the
Hmm.
second round of the Love is Blind episodes have come out, and I have never been more embarrassed and disgusted in my life from Mr. Let's just go couple by couple. Let's go couple by couple because obviously we got a lot of things to say.
Listen, so should we start off with Hannah and Nick?
Yeah,
What's
okay. So this week, do you feel any differently about Hannah than you did last week? Because
no,
last week you couldn't stand.
she's still annoying me. We're definitely seeing a different side of her. Well, not this different side, the same exact side, just worse because now she's talking about stock, she's talking about bonds, she's talking about sharing phone plans, and I think this is just a lot. Honestly, I don't think what she's saying is a lot, but I feel like you know who you chose. Okay. This is not the man that you think he is. Nick is a very simple guy. He lives in his parents' basement. He's not really trying to do all that right now. And his parents are paying for his phone bill. So he's like, why would I leave my phone plan and leave my car insurance that my parents are paying for to come and join you and have to pay for it? Did that make
See,
sense?
this is the part where I
That's the part where I get
agreed with
single.
Hannah, though. This is the part where I agreed with Hannah because I feel like what with the socks thing, it's like I think that she was just trying to kind of like teach him, but she was doing it in a condescending way, like, "Oh, you don't know about
Yes.
stock. Where is all your money?" Like, but what I do agree is that if we are to be married, you need to get used to paying for not only yourself but us as a couple, our future family. So you don't need to be on your parents anything. Well, like not anything. Like they can pay something for you, but for you as a grown man to be on a family plan, but I'm about to marry you, so I'm your family. We need to be on the same phone plan. We need to literally have, all these things because we're merging our lives. You're a grown ass adult. Obviously, is it nice that your parents pay that at your age? Yes, but at the same time, not only do I think that you need to be paying it as a man, but I also am doing this to test you to see how much money do you have before I marry you. Because I'm good. I
That's
got
fair.
stocks and bonds and receipts and
I get
CDs and
it.
all that shit, but you don't.
And listen, I understand where she's coming from. What she was saying, I didn't have a problem with. It just comes down to this is not that man. Like he's comfortable as hell. He's okay with that. And he's not gonna be who she wants him to be. She's like, I want somebody assertive. She wants a man that's gonna come in the house, drop his
And take over.
briefcase, take out the trash, go grocery shopping, come back home and be like, the bills are paid. You don't have to worry about anything. The dog is walked.
Same.
And it's like, it's not gonna happen with this particular man.
That's why I'm like, you kind of should have chose Leo because I would have chose Leo. Like, I know that he was like he pissed me off. He was a creep, but when I heard him say I get to live very comfortably and I make all this money, I would have just put it to the side, child. Like,
I
Leo
t
is the person that like that. Obviously, he didn't want someone who wanted him for his money, but he was very obvious about him being rich and also him like because unfortunately both of his parents have passed away, it made him be very independent,
mhm.
whereas Nick, he's the opposite. His parents, are so involved in his life that he still lives in their basement. So she might not have picked the right person, but she's like, okay, so now we're in the real world. This is where we start talking about how we're going to live our lives and how we're going to merge our lives. And if you still have your parents paying everything, how is this literally going to work?
I also think that maybe when it comes to her being with Leo, I don't know if that will work either because I think they would be fighting for control. Like, because he's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, we're gonna do things my way. And her whole thing is what she said. She's like, I have a certain way that I like doing things. And my biggest problem is like, I don't want to change the way I do things, or I feel like I have to critique you if you're doing things differently. So I don't
Do you
necessarily
think
know.
that she wants the best of both? Like she's kind of a hypocrite, like in a sense that she wants to be in charge of everything, but then she also wants a guy who knows what he wants also.
Yeah. But I also think that maybe she does need somebody like that. Maybe she wants somebody like that. Maybe she wants to, because like she said, she can take care of herself. I think she probably just wants someone that she can like control and shape and mold. She wants to fit somebody. Maybe she's a fitzer.
So you think that she likes Nick because
Yeah.
she can do exactly what she's doing?
hmm
Okay,
But
that's
I don't know if
interesting.
it's gonna work out on his end because I feel like it's cool now, but at some point he's gonna feel like I'm kind of tired of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not like the way he looked at her when she was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to get off your parents' phone plan," and he was like, "I'm about to go back to this basement,"
Child,
and they
I
don't
don't
want him to
know.
leave either.
I just didn't even. I forgot in the pods when he said that he did. He even say that? Do you remember him saying that?
No, I don't necessarily remember him saying he lived with his parents. Yeah, I don't remember that
Like it's okay to
conversation.
live. I guess that there are multi-generational homes, and I get that because a lot of people. It used to be that you don't leave the house until you get married,
Yeah,
but this is the time you're about to get married. So why are you now kind of not ready to get your mouth off the titty?
because his mom has him comfortable.
So that's not gonna work, child. As far as meeting the family goes, I hate those episodes. I'll be honest.
Me
When
too.
they meet the families, I don't really care.
I don't at all. The only one that I cared about was who are they? Is it Taylor? No, it's Alex and Tim. Because
Hmm.
her dad was so emotional, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, you can tell that there's really okay.
hmm
Let's get to Alex and Tim. What do you think about their dynamic now? Because when we last checked with them, she
They
kind
were
of like
fighting.
you know, you like that toxic.
Yeah. And she did too, just like I
Yeah,
said she would.
yeah,
So literally after that
you're right.
moment, she snapped right back in, and now she's full force. She's like, I'm in. It's like night and day. You see her personality change. She's more open. She's more affectionate. She's like, I'm a bit nervous of how my parents are going to perceive you,
Mm-hmm.
specifically my dad, because he's a little bit tough.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've seen. We've seen that he was tough, but he was also open because I think he's seen that Tim was a structured guy. I think
Mm-hmm.
Tim was established. He knows that his daughter is going to be well taken care of, probably based off of that chicken that he brought. I think that was like enough. And I also like her family. I feel like when I seen the cookie crumbs, like did you see that? I don't know if those were cookie crumbs or like fried fish crumbs like on his jacket. But when I
I did
seen
not
them covered
notice.
in crumbs, I'm like, I like this family because they did not
Real.
want to wait to eat. They're like, let's
No,
eat it now.
no, like that's like me. Like when everything's like it's almost done, I just walk around with a piece of chicken before the rice is finished.
Yeah,
That's real.
and that's how it is.
I like their
Um,
family dynamic. What
yeah,
about their relationship? Do you think that they are going to say "I do"? Like, do
no,
you don't think it's going to work
I
out?
don't. I don't think it's gonna work. I think something's gonna happen, and it's not gonna be on Tim's end. I feel like it's gonna be on Alex's end because
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like even though she's attracted to him, and even though like now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna last long. It's almost like a curse, I feel. I feel like
Ooh, not a curse.
as long as he's being assertive, she likes that. But when he's like a little bit goofy and kind of
She
like
gets the
corny,
ick.
she gets that. Do you sense that?
I hate when you project onto me
I'm like, do you sense that?
what you
Because it's
just
like,
said.
I don't know if anybody else sees it, but when there are certain moments, even still, he'll say something and she'll be like,
I don't necessarily think that. I think that that's just her personality. Is that she'll always get the ick with like it doesn't matter who it
mm,
is. Something that they'll do will give her the ick, and she's just one of those people who are just like, ugh. But I love them. Like she
okay,
can live with that ick. I feel like they might make it. I don't know.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. What about Ramses? Is it Ramses and Marissa?
Yes. So obviously her mom wanted to know that
Yeah.
that listen, what are you gonna do? Because you're not gonna be spending my
She
daughter's money.
like she made me depressed quickly.
Marissa or her mom?
Her mom, because it's
Why?
like, girl, like I understand that she wants her to do a prenup. Like I get that, I respect that. But then it's like even when you're approaching them, you're like, I don't believe in love forever. She's like, I don't believe in that marriage shit, really. Temporary. She was like, y'all not gonna make it. Y'all not gonna get married. But she's like, if y'all do, I'll support you
She's a
from a
realist.
distance. But she's like, I don't like your aesthetic. I don't really like your hair.
she was she was rude, but
I
that's
was
how
like,
some
oh
parents
my
can be. Like
gosh.
that's how some parents can be. Like that's why I'm kind of like, you know. I just think that she's very honest, and it's relatable when you kind of don't want to bring someone around because it's like the kind of person you are. Mama will tell your ass up.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but I agree that it is depressing. But I think that she is a realist, and that's not. I feel like maybe if there was more time had, like if they spent instead of this experiment being like a month long, if they had like a realistic timeline, she might have like
That thing could have been three
changed a little bit.
years. She would have been
You don't
like,
think so? You just think that her view is like that? That's fair. That's
she just
fair.
doesn't care.
So, okay, the biggest thing with them is obviously like this. Well, at first it was the view on the military,
The
which they kind
military
of like,
service. Yeah.
they eventually like got over, but that was like a very important thing that was brought up
But
multiple
are they
times.
over it?
No, because it comes up because that was a part of her life. And if you're going to start a life together, and especially when you're going to have children, and that was a huge part of your life, and that's still something that
I
it's
don't know.
recent.
Me personally, I don't think it should be anything that breaks them up or makes him second guess their relationship.
Me either.
I I just I don't understand that thing. I'm like, you can have a difference in opinion. You don't have to have the same opinion when it comes to this. And you have to understand that obviously hers is going to be different because she was actually in the service.
Right.
This was
I
her life
understand
at
both
one point.
sides.
Yeah.
I understand both sides because okay, I'll tell you what I do understand and what I don't understand. I understand her and the fact that it was like at that time, I felt like,
Hmm.
I was trained and I was told to do something, and I'm still proud that I did that. But now I have a different view because I'm out of it and I see some things and how some things are going. With him, he's Venezuelan. So they have a very different experience with the US military, point blank. However, if you feel that way and that strong, you can be strong in your feeling because you had that kind of relationship. But why choose this person when you know that's all she talked about when they were in the pods?
Hmm.
This is not, she didn't hide a part of herself. So that is what I, see in both of them. What I don't understand is why he chose her if he was still feeling so strongly about it, especially because she said, now that I'm out of it, my view has changed a little bit. So
Right.
I don't know. And then their other biggest thing, this is the part where it's like, okay, it's kind of similar to like last season with the one guy who wanted the girl to take birth control. He wants her to take birth control. She wants him to use condoms. And I'm like, this really something like I didn't know that that was something that was rocket science for
I'm like,
people.
yeah, it's it's a little bit strange. I'm like, do y'all just not want to be together? And for it's not even her, it's him. Because I
Yeah,
think she's more willing to work through things, but I think for him, it's like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could do that. And it's like, why are you so conditional on everything? I don't necessarily
exactly.
like that.
Conditional. That's the
Yeah.
perfect word.
I don't necessarily like that because I feel like as soon as you feel like something's not going your way or you feel like something's getting hard or there is a difference in opinion, instead of trying to
Work through
understand
it.
that difference and work through it, you're just going to be like, well, this isn't for me. And I think
No,
she's starting to see that as well,
that's so true.
you know? So,
Okay, so do you think they're going to get married?
yeah, I can see them getting
I
married.
don't think they will.
Ooh, why not? Because of what, like the whole thing, what we just talked
It's just
about?
like every single time they solve something, another problem that is easy for me, like it would be common
Mm,
sense for me. It's either you get on birth control or you get of the procedure of vasectomy. But for them, it's like butting heads, like ramming heads. So I'm like, okay, you're arguing about two huge things right now. So what about when it comes to like actually being married, raising kids, buying a house, living life together? Like that is just, it just doesn't make any sense. And also I think that their connection was physical and they was just hunching too much, and that got in the way of their rational,
mhm.
feelings. And now that it's time to use a condom, all of a sudden
We're
he's
gonna
thinking with
do
his
it.
other head. So I don't think that they're going to get married. Who's next?
Okay, we can get into Monica and Stefan. Were you surprised by what happened? Because I know I wasn't. I
What
told you.
weren't you surprised? Okay,
I
no, you were right. You absolutely called it.
I
But
said
like,
it.
how did you know? Like, what, you weren't surprised that like she found fetish stuff in his phone that same? like day that they were supposed to like meet her parents or some shit like that.
Um,
Like the text messages is why they broke up. And then she was like, you're texting, oh, you're supposed to be at a sleep lab, but
I
you're
thought that
like,
was weird itself. So it's like, why are you taking a sleep test now? Like, I just
because
thought that was very strange. Like, who says something like that, you know? And
so
then
you
in
don't
the
think, do you think he was at a sleep test?
no,
He was sleeping in some pussy.
yeah, because it's like, what? You know, you do have to think. Like, what are you talking about?
You
A
don't think he just
sleep
has sleep
test?
apnea?
Apnea for some.
What do you think the fetish was?
I mean, we did hear something about pegging.
Yeah, so I think that was it.
Yeah, I think that was it. But it's like it must was really nasty because she was like they were disgusting. And I'm like, well, he already told you about pegging, so I'm like, what else could it have been? But I just knew I figured he was like that anyway. Like just based off the stuff that he was telling her, it was kind of strange. I was like, man, I don't know. It's not strange because I don't want to sit here and be Mary Poppins. Like, you know, I understand that
You're
people
not
have,
fetish shaming. It's just
yeah,
the way that he was acting with
yeah.
her
That
that
was the only thing that he seemed passionate about. Then when you speak to her friends about certain things, you say like a bunch of weird stuff. Like you're talking about you could have any girl and they're just ready to, you know, give you head. And it's just like,
why are you bringing this up?
I don't know why he was bringing that up. That was
Also, who do
weird.
you think you are? Especially compared to
I
her.
don't know.
Like be like
It's strange.
not to
Like
be
he's not
rude.
a bad looking guy. Like, you know what I
No, he's not a
mean?
bad looking guy, but when you
But
put like his personality and
yeah.
like it compared to her, it's just very weird. Like he got lucky. I'll just say that.
I also think that
And
she tries too hard. I think that's one thing about her.
in what sense?
And just like in general. Like even when they're out, she's just like, oh my God, I love this.
I think that she was trying to force herself to like him.
Maybe.
That's
Because
what I
they
think it
definitely
was.
have a lot of differences. And even when she's chatting with her friends, it's like she's trying to tell him that everything is good, but then she goes to her friends and she's like, this sucks.
Me.
So I'm not understanding, and I don't know exactly what she wants. I know she wanted flowers and
I
stuff
think
like
what it was
that,
is that she just wanted to. She was ready to get married, and she's like, okay, I did this experiment. This is the guy that I chose. Let's just do this. But
but
once she saw those text messages, she had to see something really like she asked for a sign, and she had to see that evidence, and that's when you
and
know
that was very strange because even in the pods, like I told you, he's like, I love you.
it's weird. Like,
I'm like, you don't love her. You don't love
why are
her,
you saying
and she doesn't love
exactly,
you.
exactly?
Stop.
But it was more so. I was more so disappointed in him because it's like, okay, I understand that you
Yeah.
had like a fight or whatever, but does that, and you know that you're on TV,
But
and
did they
also,
really even have a fight?
yeah, it wasn't
Because
really
they
that
got
big of a
over it.
deal.
They resolved the issues, if you remember. Like, I don't know what happened
Yeah.
after cameras dropped.
And then on top of that, she's saying that she went in the text messages, looked through them, and this was a strain since before the experiment.
Mm.
So this was something that he started and continued before and after he got engaged. So that's what I hate about this. It's like, why even come on the show?
Mm.
Why are you on the show? Disgusting. You and your fucking 13% Nigerian heritage or whatever the fuck that was.
I
Bye.
just hated that it had to be that.
Not
Um,
the not the black guy.
mm. Oh, you have Taylor and Garrett. What do you feel about them? I'm like, they're just picture perfect, huh?
Yeah, I feel like they're the only ones who are like actually going to be okay.
I don't care about them. I'll be honest. Like,
I,
she's,
I I care about her, so that's why I'm like, oh, she's so pretty. I hope that she has a good life. I hope
yeah,
they have a
she
good
is
life.
pretty, but they bore me. It's like they put me to sleep. Like, immediately when they come on, I'm just like, like it just makes me so sleepy. The only time I like her is when she's being a friend to like The other girl, like when she came in and she's like,
She's
"This
a
is
girl's girl.
horrible. This is
Yeah.
horrible." Like I think she should just do that. But her
She should be a
relationships,
friend of.
yeah, I'm like, you guys are gonna be good.
But this is the
I'm not
thing,
even worried.
we need someone who is going to be good, because all these are hanging by a string. Like, are we even going to have weddings at this point, the way that this is going? Because we started off
Ashley,
so strong.
and we got Ashley and Tyler, and so
A sperm donor to 3 kids.
does he take care of them? That's what I wanted a better understanding of.
How?
Do they
No,
know
I
him?
didn't care anything about any of that. The only thing that I cared about was, how does this not come up in the pods? And lying, that is lying by omission, because men love to be like, well, you didn't specifically ask me if I was married. Why would I have to ask you something that you should volunteer?
Well,
If I have to ask you, if yeah, Mr. Big, like if I have to ask you, do you have any kids? I mean, any kids, like biologically, unbiologically, what are you responsible for? Anyone in general? Why do I have to break it down? And we're living together, and this is weeks later. We done went to Mexico, we done met each other's families, and all of a sudden it's just like, you have 3 children.
and he's like,
You didn't ask me if I had any sperm babies. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
because I think men minimize that, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, if it's just a sperm donor,
No,
then
no.
what?
Like, no, there's no way you can rationalize this right now.
I'm saying it's not like it's almost like, for instance, if a woman, and I would make this equal to a woman being a surrogate. Like if a woman was a surrogate and she had like 3 babies for a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's something that you tell people, but would it be something that I would be like I don't think I
That's
would
something
be,
that's something that you tell someone, though. You would tell
yeah.
this to like your friend. Like,
I
you wouldn't
definitely
even
believe
say
it,
this
but I don't think it
romantically.
would be terms for, which is why I don't think they're gonna break up. I don't think they're gonna break up for that reason. Now, if these are kids that he has to take care of, then that's something completely different because then that's involving you. You're gonna have to have a relationship that's coming out of your pockets financially. It's coming out of your household financially. Time is being taken away from your household. So that's a lot to think about. But when it's like a sperm donor. It's like, you're just
But then
giving
my whole
somebody a
thing is,
child.
let's just say that you're not responsible for the children. How did you conceive these sperm babies? Did you conceive them the good old fashioned way, or did you actually go through the IVF process? And I don't think you went through no damn IVF
Maybe they
process.
did a turkey baster. I seen that once on the game. Do you remember that episode?
Well, yes.
And when she did it, I was like, wow, that's so creative. Like I
Not I
never
didn't
would have
take
thought.
notes. I didn't take notes on it
Yeah,
or
I wouldn't
anything.
have, like, of course I didn't. Like,
No, like I thought that it
but
was like fucked up, but no, good idea. So I think that this is complete bullshit. I would definitely break up with him. Because
because is it one of those things where you feel like if you hid this, then you're gonna hide who
you
knows
could
what
be
you
a
have.
serial killer. Like, and it's the way that you don't think that this is a big, not you, but like how he
Yeah.
doesn't think that this is a big deal. That's something that you bring up when you're trying to
I
get married.
I
That's the whole
definitely
point.
think it's weird. I'm not gonna say it's not weird. I definitely think it's strange, but I don't know.
Okay, so breaking the fourth wall a bit,
Hmm.
it's been exposed that like people are exposing him like, listen, you have these children out here, why are you calling them your sperm babies? These are your actual
So
freaking
it's real.
children.
So
You got like, it's
I
like
want
tea
to,
about it that I've been trying to like duck and dodge. No, don't get embarrassed now because you were taking up for him. but those are his children. He like there's pictures of him with the
I
kids
have
at
to go,
Disney
guys.
World, literally
Something just came up.
literally hanging out with the kids. That's not how you act if you just like
Yeah, I
have
don't
them out
know.
in the
That's
world.
weird. Now,
Like
see,
you're a
you're doing
liar.
too much. Yeah, you're doing too much. Like
Yeah.
if it was like a situation like
You were telling the actual truth this time.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not what happened.
Oh my God. Okay. This is
Yeah.
bad.
So I had to
All right,
tell her
so
that.
they're not gonna make it.
Well, I don't know. I don't
She
know.
was just with AD too.
Okay, yeah, they're not gonna make it then. I was just trying to keep some mystery to it.
But
But
AD also said that she's talking to this guy again that she always talks to. It's a TikTok that they were doing, but everybody was like, "Are you talking to Clay again? Like, don't piss me off."
is she talking to Clay again? Because that's Shanice's from Summer House Martha's Vineyard, man. So who is she
Are they
talking
gonna
to
get
her
a
about?
real bad? I don't know.
They go together
Actually,
for
I
real,
don't
for
think
real.
I don't think AD said any of that. I'm sorry. I'm team like I like AD. I'm not gonna do that. Nope.
I like AD. I like
That was just a
Shanice, but
TikTok.
yeah, you know how
Yeah,
TikToks be. We don't know.
we don't
All
know
right.
for sure.
Well, everyone enjoy the interview that we have coming up for you guys. And please, by the time you get this, another batch of episodes of Love is Blind will be out. So watch Love is Blind. If you haven't watched Fight Night, watch Fight Night. If you haven't watched The Penguin, please watch The Penguin. And we will be back on Saturday to talk about all of the Real
Because I
Housewives.
have something to say about Teen Mom, and I've been
Oh,
meaning to say
T,
it.
is it back?
No, it's not back. But there
Oh,
was
but
something
there's
that
T
came
around.
out. There was something that came
Do you
out.
want to talk about it now or do you want to wait until
Yeah, I'll wait because I don't. I want this
okay.
episode to be full of black excellence and just full of positive energy. Next week, I'm going. It's just something that needs to be said.
And I can't wait to hear it because I am definitely interested in your Teen Mom rants.
All right, y'all. Well, bye.
We'll see you. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bravo, We're Black. I'm Kaya.
And I'm Aaron, and we are Bravo, We're Black again. But this time, this is our pop culture episode, and we have a special guest today, y'all. Y'all know we have been talking about Fight Night. We didn't really get a chance to speak on it last week because we had a treat for y'all, and we wanted y'all to wait. But we have Artrece Johnson with us here today. You may know her as Faye from Fight Night, Chicken Man's wife from Fight Night, and we're
Be
so happy to have
specific.
her. Yeah, I
We're
have to
so
be
happy
specific.
to, yeah, because we know y'all. Excuse me, like y'all have the woman that we've been seeing week to week on our screens. First of all, we want to say thank you for coming on the pod.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
And we also want to thank our mutual, we call our listeners our cousins. So we want to thank our cousin, Rebecca, for connecting us because how this happened, you guys, is Rebecca apparently listens to the podcast, which is an honor in itself. So I really appreciate that. And we got a freaking email saying, listen, I know someone who's on the actual show, and I haven't been hearing enough people cover this show. And I'm just like, there's no way we're going to get someone from the show on the podcast. And Artrece was nice enough to not only say yes, but also work around our schedule because, it's been rumbling and tumbling around here, knucking and bucking and ready to fight with these hurricanes. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. First of all, we just wanted to say, how are you?
I am blessed.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
How are you
I
guys?
love that.
Right. We are also blessed, especially considering, we were in the path almost of a superstorm just a week ago when we really wanted to have you. And then, shout out to everyone who is dealing with, the after effects of the storm. Shout out to everyone who's also dealing with Helene right now. We are praying for you. We are thinking of you guys, and we hope that you are safe. So last week, I was able to talk about kind of Fight Night as who are dealing with the main players. We have all of these legendary actors and we have all these Black people in front of, but also more importantly, behind the camera, which is why it made it such a good show. But before we get into the show, we want to know a little bit about Artrece. Like, you are so talented. You are really that woman. Like, it's crazy.
Thank you.
We're seeing your role in Fight Night, and we thought that we were going to see that same kind of aesthetic on your page, but it's the total opposite.
The total
which means
opposite.
Like you are.
I've been getting that a lot. Like sometimes when I like do panels and talks, people are like, "Now, which girl is that in the show?"
Right.
Right, and they're like, "Kevin's wife."
Because literally, when I went to your Instagram page, I'm like, is this like, wait, do I have the right person? And I'm like, because she is like, you have the fits on, the hair is different, like, and your character is still like, don't get me wrong, your character is still a baddie, but it's like, this is the 70s, this is more reserved, and we're seeing a different side of you. This is Faye in 2024.
Right. Period.
So
they are so different when it comes to, we both Christian women, but we're so different when it comes to I like to be naked. Faye likes to be covered up, you know. So yeah, in terms of that, but Faye had those fits now, like the costume department really like, I mean, I was wearing vintage stuff, like stuff from the 70s. It was so cool because I love clothes, you know, I love fashion and stuff like that. So that was one of my favorite parts of the process, to just go through all the beautiful, there were so many things that we didn't get to use in the show that I'm like, oh man, we can't figure out some kind of way to put this on.
Right. But to tell that story.
The department did amazing. Like, the fits for everybody's character is just like chef's kiss.
Yeah,
we definitely are going to, because I have like some questions. We're going to get into that, but we want to know, like, what was your, we've read about your upbringing, but it's nothing like when someone gets to tell you their story face to face. Like, just shortly, like, what was your upbringing like to get to your fabulous self that we see here today, to see you on the big screen? Like,
well, dang, it's a lot of ups and downs in my upbringing. I could definitely say that. I was born in Louisiana, Creole babe, raised in Atlanta. My mother is Nigerian and my dad is African American. And, you know, they were some young parents just trying to figure things out. So there was a lot of we had a lot of financial issues when I was little. You know, there was a lot going on, like to the point where, like, I've been to foster care. Like, it's just, woo, it was rough. But you know, I never get down about it anymore, because you know, everything you go through in this life is like what makes you who you are. You know, and you need to go through certain things to be the person, like the person that you essentially want to be in this life. And, you know, as long as you're making sure you're paying attention, staying present, and taking the nuggets that you need to take from every lesson, nothing can really stop you from being a well-rounded human being. Like, no hard time, no lows, nothing. You know, you just have to take them and pull the lesson, and you know, you keep going. So, you know, it was a little rough, but you know, it's life. And but I've always wanted to be an actor since I was like 4. I wanted to be on Barney. I don't know if you guys remember that. So yeah, I wanted to so bad. But obviously my mother was Nigerian, and our culture is like, you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, or an accountant. And yeah, I was never none of those. I was actually terrible at math. But when it comes to counting that money,
period. That's different.
With that.
That's very different.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I always wanted to be an actor. So when I think the bug really hit me when I got to kindergarten, and my teacher just randomly is like, hey, do you want to be in this play? I didn't know what a play was. And I was like, yeah, what do I need to do? And she was just like, well, you just walk across the stage. And this was because we didn't have any lines. She was like, you just walk across the stage and that's it. And so I was like, sure.
A Star is Born.
Right. And so, y'all, I walked across that stage. It was like we did a production of the Very, Very Hungry Caterpillar. And I walked across the stage. And I don't know if you guys have been on stage, but there's like this surge of energy that you get when you get on stage. It is very hard to explain what it feels like, and that was when it was literally, I'm 5. It was in that moment that I was like, yeah, I don't know what that was, but I need to do that.
You wanted more of it.
Yeah.
So you weren't shy.
Oh no, I'm actually extremely shy.
That's the craziest thing about when I talk to actors and musicians, or even just reality stars. Like in real life, they'll talk about how they're kind of like a wallflower, but once all eyes or cameras start rolling, there's something about that they love what they do so much that it's something completely different. It turns on.
Yeah, I actually pray before every meeting. I pray before every performance, just like to calm my nerves, to allow me to use my nervousness, because I'm extremely, I know people tell me all the time, it's just like, I couldn't tell. It's like, baby, I was. But, thanks to God, he's like putting them in place for me to be able to use. But yeah, I'm very shy. I think someone had told me, they were like, when you're really nervous, it just means you care a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably really what it is. I don't want to mess up. I want to make sure that, I'm doing what I need to do and properly, so yeah, I'm a bit shy, it's easier in smaller groups. But like bigger groups, child, I will not talk. I will watch the room first. And, I think that has to do with just growing up. I mean, if I'm being honest, being dark skinned, growing up and just being in, this society and just trying to navigate, so a lot of it comes from that, I'm sure. But I mean, hey, that's just who I am.
Exactly.
And we love it. We love to see it.
Right. What are you like when you are, obviously you're running lines, you're trying to figure, like, an actor's life is just so crazy to think about, because it's like you have to remember these words, you have to act with different talent, you have to do blocking, you have to do fashion, you have to turn into a completely different person, obviously. But what do you do in your free time when you're not working on a project?
I love to eat.
Same.
That's just, that is I honestly could probably start a food blog. That's how I will travel to go and find and try different foods, my palate is extremely diverse. I even started making other cultural foods at home. I've made Korean dishes, and I've learned how to make Chinese because I love Asian cuisine. But I'm Nigerian, and the next thing next to Nigerian food is Asian. So I'm like, I gotta figure out how to make this food. And but yeah, I love to eat. I love pottery. I love pottery. I do. It's such a calming. Oh my God. I don't know if y'all have ever tried it, but that's a calming sport.
See, I always wanted to do it, but the school that we went to, they didn't have stuff like that. Really, at least I didn't get it.
But I would say look in your city and see where you can at least take one class, because honestly, after you take one class and you learn how to do it, you can then order your own little thing. Yeah. And you can put on your You could play some good music. It's so calming. Like it, if you're stressed, it's something that you have to focus, but not really use brain power. Exactly.
It
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes total sense.
stuff like that.
It becomes like a second nature kind of thing because it also is like kind of like a labor of love because when you finally finish it, you have this thing that
Yes.
you made with your own two hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like before Painting with a Twist, there was just like this you remember in Aventura Mall, Aaron, they had like this place where you could like make your own like plates and pottery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've done that before, but I've never heard someone who like Seth Rogen makes his own like pieces, but I never like no one does that like around me, like not even the artists that I know, they never say pottery, so that is so unique, and
Yeah.
I that's why I love asking people about their habits outside of their work because you never know what people are into. Have you ever like thought about, is it purely just a habit or have you ever thought about maybe like selling some pieces on Etsy or open up a
So
little?
I really just do it as like something that I like to do. But one
Mhm.
day I would like to own like a brand that sells whatever it is that I like. Like
Yeah.
if I wanted pieces, like I love unique glasses and unique plates and bowls. I love that. I don't buy it because I don't naturally have an immediate family to use it with. But like if I did, I would just have like, unique pieces. So if I ever, hopefully one day I could sell something like that. I would love to do that, have my own brand in that sense.
And if you're really
Yeah.
into it, I know they have like a lot of Groupons for it. And not a lot of people know that because I'm on Groupon a lot and I see a lot of
Hey,
pottery classes. And I'm like, I just
mhm.
need 3 friends to go with me, but nobody ever wants to go.
You can actually go alone. I'm
Yeah,
telling
because we meet people at the class.
I've
you,
been
do.
trying
It's
to get into
long.
that.
Yeah, you'd be so. Like uh, doing things alone can be so scary, but you spend most of your time alone. You just don't realize it.
That's
And
so true.
and then the more time you spend alone in the world, the better you learn who you are, because there's no outside forces, like no influences, no conversation. It's just you existing in the world. You're able to really see who you are as a person. And the key to life is knowing who you are, unless you
Mm.
want somebody to tell you who you are.
Mm.
Damn, that's
Ain't that the
deep.
truth? We didn't know that we
So,
was gonna go there today, y'all.
Artrece, I want to know what was the casting experience like when it came to like fight night? Was there an audition? Did a friend tell you about this?
You know what? I was sitting at home. I was off. I was working. I used to work at Trader Joe's,
Mhm.
and I just happened to be off this day. And let me tell you how God is such a detailed planner, you know, and I just happened to be off. I'm never off on a Wednesday, but I'm off, and I was gonna get upset about it, but I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna, at least I get to be off during the week, and I just moved on. So I was sitting at home and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get cute and go to the grocery store. Something I never do. If I want to go to the grocery store, I'm just going to go however I look. But today I was just like, oh, I'm just going to get cute. So I start curling my clip ins. And, I was like, well, you know what? Let me watch TV, because that's another thing I love to do is watch TV. Like I watch, like I'm a TV watcher. And so I was just like, oh, what can I watch? And I was like, you know what? I've been meaning to watch the David Beckham documentary, because it's like my favorite thing to watch is a documentary. So I was like, but I don't feel like being like in that mood. But I
Mhm.
was just like, but you should watch it because you'll be inspired. Like
Mhm.
documentaries kind of inspire me to like push for my goals. So I put it on. It was inspiring as hell. And I'm like, dang, this is good. It's like a 6-episode documentary, I think. And naturally, I look at my phone. I check my phone like I'm waiting on someone to text me back. And that's how I check my emails. So I normally check my emails hour to hour. This day, I just happened to not look at my phone because I was so consumed in the documentary. And so I had finished curling my clip-ins. I think I'm on like the 4th episode of the doc. And I'm like, man, I'm so inspired internally. Like, man, God, I just know I can do this. I feel like it's time. Like I can do this. I just need the opportunity. This is me calling out to God now. And I was just like, well, you can't do anything about it now. You just have to wait for an audition to go through so that you can show God that you can do it. So I sit back down because, mind you, I'm standing up saying all this. So I sit down and I pick up my phone and I look, and then there's an audition. And I'm like, wow, God, you work fast. So I look at the audition and I'm looking at it. And at this time, it was just Kevin attached. And it was for fight night. And it was like guest star recurring role. Now, immediately, I was just like, well, I know they're going to go for a name because I didn't have any guest star credits at all. I had only had co-stars. And I was like, guest star recurring, they're not going to trust me with that, you know? And so I was just like, well, I'm just going to do my best work. And that'll be me proving to God that I'm ready, you know? And that's all I was really trying to do. It was not to book. It was not for anyone. It was just me trying to put my best foot forward from then on out, right? And so I'm still looking through the breakdown, and I saw that it said 3 hours later, like the audition from the time that I looked at it was due in 3 hours over Zoom, which is like our version of in person. Yeah. And so I sat there for about 10 minutes because I was like, I know this isn't due in 3 hours.
And that's not a sign. I don't know what is though.
Girl, I didn't know what kind of sign, because when I tell you I was stressed, I was like, now God, now this is me immediately complaining. Now God, when I said I was ready, I didn't mean like this.
Not right now, like maybe tomorrow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like over the weekend, like I'm just gonna really practice for a while before I get it. You know what I'm saying? So like I was like 3 hours. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I wear glasses. And so I have to memorize my lines because I can't hold the paper and see the lines. So I always memorize. So I'm panicking to my reps, panicking to myself. And I emailed the casting and I'm like, hey, can we reschedule for like 2 hours later than I was scheduled? I didn't get a response. And then I'm still like stressed. And then I look up, the documentary is paused. And it kind of clicks and reminds me, like, you literally just asked for this opportunity. And now you're like, what is going on, girl? And so I was just like, it's either you're going to do it or you're not. And I was just like, yeah. So I sat down, I memorized the lines in like 30 minutes, broke down the script. The quickest thing I had ever done. The clip-ins that I had already been curling were ready for me to put in my head. I put on an outfit, did my makeup, and I was ready before the time. And so I emailed the casting back and I said, hey, I tried to request a different time, but I actually just got off book within the last hour. So I'm able to just keep the time that was allotted to me. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, you didn't have to memorize, blah, blah, blah. We'll see you at that time. This is my first time in front of this casting director. So I get on the Zoom, I do the audition. She gives me a redirect. I forgot one of the lines and I just called for line in the character. And then I just kept going. And then when I was done, she was like, Artrece, thank you so much. And I was like, no, thank you. You know, like I'm just happy to be auditioning, you know? And yeah, after that was done, when we hung up, I immediately started crying. And I think I was crying because I was so relieved to have done something that I thought I wasn't going to be able to do in such a short amount of time. You know, like it really puts things into perspective for me now, where it's just like, no, anything, you can do anything if you really put your mind to it. That is it's such a cliche statement, but it's so real. Like if you just buckle down, do what needs to be done, you can do it, you know? And so I was just like, whew, thank God. And then an hour later, they pinned me for the role. And a pinning is like to say basically, we're thinking about booking you for this.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, what? I was like, oh,
just like that. Like, and just like that.
Yeah. And so I tried not to stress out. I said a little prayer. I said, you know, God, I didn't think about it before, but I guess I would love to have this role. It'd be nice, you know, but if it's your will, it's your way. And I'm,
right.
You know, because you're going to do what you want to do anyway.
Exactly. Just by the way, I do want it though.
Just so you know, you know, so, and that was Wednesday. And then Saturday, I got the call that I booked it. And then Monday, we did the table read with everyone. And Tuesday, I flew to Atlanta.
Now, was that experience crazy as heck or what? To like be sitting at the table, I bet that was probably such a surreal moment.
I honestly, I still have the moment of like, dang, I can't believe I just filmed this show with these people that I have watched for so many years, with people that I have looked up to, their careers, their art, everything that they've done in this industry. And I really just did a whole show with them. You know, I still have that now. You know, it's such a blessing to like have, you know, the biggest thing I've booked yet be something of this type of magnitude. Like the show is a hit, the people I get to work with, the opportunities, like what I've learned, the size of my role, you know, like,
yeah,
it's like when God wants to bless you, you think what you want out of life is this, and God can just come and like magnify it into like something that you couldn't have even, I could have never imagined, to work with these many great artists in one project, you know? So I'm just, woo, grateful.
That is so inspiring and also like amazing to hear, because a lot of the times you can not really be intent in your prayer. And what you were very intent in your prayer. Like you were focused, like you said, you know what? I think that I actually am ready. And it was, you know, the documentary obviously inspired you, but it was actually you who had to be ready and also had that faith in God to say, like, I'm actually ready to step into my purpose. And not only did he hear you, but he decided to answer you quicker than you even thought. And that's crazy because you're talking about this happened on a Wednesday when you were off, when you literally were just going to go to a grocery store. And by Monday, you're sitting there with some of the most talented people in the world, not just the actors. Obviously, the actors, we already know that these are like amazing people, but like the production, like it's a Will Packer Heartbeat production. Like it's just so great to see, and it's great to hear, and that's very inspiring. And it just shows us, you know, like even though this is a podcast, maybe we can think about some ways of manifesting, you know, to get bigger. Like, look, just last week we were just talking about how we were just talking about fight night, and this week we have someone from the show on here. Look at how that works.
Yeah.
Like how crazy is that?
Because a lot of the times, you know, we say, I think like we pray for things or we ask for things, and we're not necessarily like, I'm not gonna say putting in the work, but it's like we almost live in fear a bit. And I know that has happened to me before. Like I'm scared to actually go to the next step, but I'm thinking about it. But it's like once I get a chance to put in that work, I'm just like, oh, it's nerve-wracking. So that's definitely inspiring to me.
And you know what? I will like encourage you to just go blissfully ignorant. You know, you're going to be very nervous, as you know that I'm a very nervous person, but it's just like if you don't ask, you don't know.
That's so true.
Like, when you think about that, it's just like, because what is the worst thing someone can tell you? It's no, you know, but what if they say yes? You know, so you were just thinking like, and then sometimes even you get on the other side of the yes and you realize, oh, this wasn't even a big deal. Like I thought I could have been asked this, you know? Like there are so many things that like I really try nowadays, because you have to like once you start to remember that you're dealing with humans, because you know we like to put people on pedestals and things like that, but when you're remembering that you're dealing with humans, which means they have the same emotions as you, they have the same thoughts and process, you know, a little different sometimes, but for the most part our makeup is all the same. And when you think that, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna ask, and they can tell me no if they want, and I'll go from there. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But you know, a closed mouth, it really does not get fed.
Oh, that's right.
It really
I know that's right. That is so inspirational. And I'm so glad that you like detailed the process out, because we, you know, we talk to people before who are on these productions and do things like that, but they never really go into like deep detail of like from how the audition process is to being pinned to going like the steps it took to even like get there and how you found out. And that's part of like the interesting thing about it. So let's get into your character, obviously on the show. Hers, she surprised me because I didn't know, like I was scared for her because I thought maybe
I was scared for her.
yeah, I thought she may have, you know, been caught in the crossfire a little bit. I'm proud of her for stepping up and saying, listen, I'm sick of like, I already know what you're doing, which I wasn't sure if she knew about, you know, Chicken Man and Taraji P. Henson's character Vivian's, like their kind of relationship. You know, woman's intuition is she's gonna know. But yeah. I'm like, is she going to acknowledge that? And when she did acknowledge that, I was just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And then when the people came to her door and she was wrapped up, like exactly, like she just took me through so many different emotions, and then she ended up just like removing herself from the situation, and then, you know, at the end it all comes together again. But she never ever, one thing about her is that she never got out of character, like yeah. And that is something admirable, because at the end of the day it's like you can get thrown so many things, but her biggest purpose was being a woman of God and a good mother. She already knows that she's a good wife, but she wanted to protect her children. And, you know, she was very deep into her faith and trusting God, kind of like you are in real life. So her journey was so amazing. What did you think about this character overall? And were you satisfied with the ending that she got?
I think that I'm very empathetic, so to everything. So with her ending, I and I'm very big on like working things out. If people are very much willing to change for the better, then me as even myself, I will be willing to work things out with you, you know. Now when I first got her, I was a little like, Faye, girl, I don't know about this girl, you know, and I was just like, I was fighting her, you know, because I just was like, again, you know, right. But the thing about acting is you actually, this is going to sound so weird, but it's almost kind of like playing God. Let me see if this works out. Because to play a character, you can't judge them. Mm-hmm. You can't really have any like, oh, that's bad, you shouldn't be doing that. Or else you cannot play them truthfully. You know, so when I first met her, I was just like, girl, why are you doing it? Girl, why would you do that? You know, but it's just like, I can't play you. It's the same thing with love. To love someone fully, you can't fully, you have to empathize. And so once I started finding the empathy and you know, releasing the judgment, I was able to fully dive into how I wanted her to be. But before, you know, it was a little rough for me because I was like, girl, I would never do that. But you got to really dig deep, because there's parts of all of us where it's like, yeah, you would, mm-hmm. You know, you, and also you don't know if you would or would not, because this is the 70s. This is a racist South. You have no job. You have no family near. Who else is going to take care of you? You can't take care of yourself, and you cannot provide for these kids alone. So what would you do? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, it's like you do need to be careful about, you know, because it's still a human, even though it's like a scripted character. There are humans out there like that. And you want to play them honestly and truthfully so that people see themselves, so that they are able to heal themselves. And you also heal some of the stuff you got going on in yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it was a rough start in the beginning, but you know, the more I dived into her and her backstory and what her makeup was as like the human that she was, the more I was just like, yeah, I know Faye very well, you know, so.
Because that ending, yeah, you're right. Like the beginning was rough. Like we're looking at her, we're
Especially
seeing
going
all
to the
that
hotel, I was just like, Faye.
This is like, I don't know
This,
what type of motel this is. It's just too much going on. The people are knocking on the door. It's like, it is a lot. The stakes are high. Every
Yeah.
episode, I feel like, I'm like, damn, chicken, like you are putting her in such a tough situation. And then it got to a point where you weren't even picking up the phone. Like, you just let the kids do it because you were over it at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know,
Enough was enough.
yeah.
what was
But
it like? Obviously, I want to know what it's like being around, like, you're opposite Kevin Hart. Like, that's amazing in itself. But what was it like being on set with like all these legends? And did you get any advice from anyone that you can share?
yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Mhm.
They're all very sweet people, like very fun to be around. Kevin is hilarious. He really is, but he's also a very present and sweet person. You know, he's very giving. He is definitely about legacy. You can tell. You know, he doesn't really say that, but I know just by the way he moves that he's very big on him and Will actually big on like pulling up the next person, you know, to figure out how he can help them, you know,
Right.
gain success or move up and stuff like that. Don Cheadle is hilarious. Didn't even know that. You know, he's very funny, very sweet man, very kind. Taraji, they're all just really funny. And they're so easy to talk to. Like they're not like you know, I guess, you know, you may think of they're just like, but when you meet them, they're just like, yeah, child, and that's crazy. You know, like they're
Mhm.
just, you know, regular. So it's crazy to like, you know, experience them being so cool and giving, you know, and ready to like I had shadowed the director and Don was like, you know, what made you want to shadow the director? Are you thinking about directing? And I was just like, well, I don't technically want to be a director, but
Right.
if it's in my path along this way, then I'm not going to shut the door on it. You know, if the opportunity presents itself and I'm ready, then yeah, I'll do it. But it's not. I shadowed the director to be a better actor, and he was like, "Wow." He's like, "So did I." And for Don to tell you so that he admires you, Don is one of the best actors,
Yeah.
you know. And so it's just like he's like, yeah, that's great. And it was actually it was Kevin's idea to well, he didn't fully say shadow, but he was telling me because he knew I was new, and he was just like, listen, you know, if you want to learn more, he was like, go sit behind the director's chair sometime, ask them questions, and you know, really pay attention so you can learn. He was like, because you're gonna continue to work, so you know, see how this machine works. And so the very next day, and that's why I'm telling you to go blissfully ignorant, because I
Mhm.
didn't know how big of a deal it was to shadow the director. I literally was just trying to be on set more. So I was just like, I'm just gonna ask the director tomorrow then. So I asked the director and he goes, yeah, sure. And so I literally changed my life doing that because I learned so much from just watching behind the lens, you know, and just seeing how this whole thing works and how it flows. And it was a great experience. It was almost like booking another job. You know?
That's so
Wow.
dope.
Yeah,
You strike me as a kind of person who would want to learn as much as you can about not just the craft of acting, but everything that goes into a production. So I'm not surprised that you did that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is in your future because like you said, it just you never know what you can do until you do it or what you can do until you ask. So I'm really not surprised about that. But that's so cool to know because it's also inspiring, in anyone who's listening to this. Like if you the I always like put it like this, like the only way you're gonna get to somewhere grand is if you start off with something small, like whether it's like a role or just a job in the same area of expertise that you want to be in. You never know who's there who can like help you. And I've
yeah,
heard that same thing about Kevin Hart, that he's like he has the door open, so he's leaving it open for other people to come through. Like he's
yeah,
like, I got it. I'm here. So now I want more, especially our race, Black people, to
mhm.
be successful. So that's so good to hear how he is in person.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful because, they could have hired anyone for this role,
Mm.
and to pick me with no credits and nobody knows who I am, except for my family and friends. So I just was like, wow, it's an opportunity that I'll never forget. It's definitely like I'm so grateful that, I was, picked to do this because I was just like, dang, I got on set and I was just like, whoa, everybody here's been working. Why did y'all choose? I was like,
And
y'all can find
you had a
nobody
little
else.
bit of imposter syndrome, which
Yeah.
you shouldn't have. Well, obviously it's natural, but you don't need to have that because you were chosen for a reason, clearly. And then when we see it, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, she's got it. Like, so that should
Girl,
fly out the window for you.
and when I tell you it's such a crazy thing because if y'all only knew, I was so stressed out during the filming because I don't naturally deal with imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
but during this, I was like, I don't know, God. I
I mean, just the cast itself. I
don't,
would be
yes. Coming
one person
home,
is nervousing, but you have scenes with Kevin Hart. You have scenes with Taraji P. Henson. These are people that we watch on TV like all the time. These are the best of the best, not just in Black Hollywood, but just in Hollywood in general.
mhm,
But they picked you for a reason, and you
Mhm.
completely delivered. You talked about how your family, kind of knows you. That was my next question. Like, what was it like having that come out like week to week? Did you have friends hit you up that didn't know you were going to be in it? What was your family's reaction who did know that you were going to be in it? What was that like just seeing the episodes week to week?
it was amazing because I actually didn't get to see them beforehand, so I watched them
Mhm.
right along with the audience.
What?
Yeah, so I was surprised about how like it was cut up and stuff like that, So I was just like, oh wow, it's amazing because I didn't know, you don't know if a project is how it's gonna turn out or not.
Mhm.
So I was just like, wow, this is actually a show that I would watch. Normally when I'm in something, I just watch my episode to see how my work was and then move on. But no,
Mhm.
I'm very invested. The show is very, very good.
Yeah.
But we had an amazing team. Like, I mean, literally every piece to the team, and I mean front, back, production, like we all came and we all did our best work, and it really shows. So I'm just I'm so grateful. I mean, people were hitting me up, people who knew me from elementary, from mid, like all walks of life, and like reminding me of a time when I almost gave up, and like all of these beautiful messages, like how they're so happy, and I'm just like, wow. Woo, God, oh, when he's ready to throw things at you fast, he is going to dump them.
He
Because I was
showed out.
off. Yeah, like by the time my birthday came, I didn't even do nothing because I was like, child, I've been celebrating all year. I'm good.
When is your birthday?
It's October 3rd.
Oh wow!
October 3rd. That was just the other.
Happy belated birthday!
Yes, happy birthday.
Yeah.
What was that? Libra
Yeah.
season?
You know,
Period.
Oh,
And
that's
on
right.
October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. It's October 3rd. Okay.
Okay, mean girl.
You know?
But I also want to ask you, Artrece, about your character because I did some research and I also realized I was like, she is in P Valley. Like,
Yeah.
you are very much in P Valley. Will you be coming? That's what I wanted to ask. Can you tell us if you'll be coming to the new season or if.
I don't think so. That was P Valley was actually my first network booking. Like it was the first time I had worked professionally in the business, and I was like, wow, that's when I got my feet wet in like such a big way, and I was very grateful. Katori Hall and is such a sweet human being and so talented, So it was amazing to work with her and everybody else. But yeah, I loved Tree Valley. It was so Black and so Southern.
That's what I loved about it too.
We love it.
Yeah.
That's why we had to ask you about it too. We're like, we're gonna ask about Fight Night, obviously, but
I'm like, Strawberry, let's talk about it real quick.
Strawberry, my little role in that P Valley, but I was so great. It was just so Black, and I'm so big on like production design. Like I'm such a, I don't know. I think it's like the detailing in it, and so like even that set, Fight Night as well, but especially like the stripper room, like the locker room for the strippers.
Yeah,
it was so detailed. I was like, dang, the production team.
I noticed that. Like, even when you look in the background sometimes, or when you pause, and for me, I notice things because it's like usually I'll get up to go get a snack, so I'll pause it, and when I come back in my room, I'm like, look at the background, like look at the details, the mirrors on the lockers, like the hairspray, all that stuff in the background. It's just like those little details that make the show pop.
Yeah, and it also allows the actor to fully dive into the world, fully believe where they, you know what I'm saying? Like all of those little details, costuming, hair, makeup, set design, like it just allows you to fully be in it. And you're like, dang, I'm for real. I'm a stripper for real, So yeah, like that was amazing. It's amazing set. Kudos to them because I think they're on their, I don't know what season, but I think they have a new season coming.
Yeah, I want to say this is their third. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. What other characters would you be interested in playing? Like, is there some, because you manifested this and you're in it, baby. You're on the same show as Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Hart, Terrence Howard, Taraji P. Henson. We have Artrece Johnson. Now you are going to be in the next generation of people who we mentioned, like, oh, well, Artrece Johnson is on the show. So we're going to be watching the show. Is there something that you saw, or is there a show on, or is there a character? Is there something that you want to do that you haven't been able to tackle yet, that you have in mind? Because your words and your prayers are very powerful.
Okay, look, I would love to play a villain in a TV show or a movie. I love sci-fi, so I'd love to do that one day. I like apocalyptic things too. So I love like The Last of Us and Yellow Jackets. I love those shows because it's just like, dang, like I like action, but a little bit of drama, like a mixture. Like I like that vibe. So I just, like I want to try as many things as I can, because I just feel like, you know, I don't want nobody to put me in a box, you know, and I don't want to put myself in one. But those are just some of the roles that I would like to play as of late. And I also like, there's this other show on Apple TV called Palm Royale.
Oh, I've heard about it. I think
that show is so darn good. I love the character. I just like really well-written characters.
Okay.
And the characters in that show, I would fall right in. You know, so I'm like, if they're watching, call me for the next season.
I'm already telling you too, because when I was on your Instagram, I'm like, yep, I'm throwing her name in the hat when they're talking about Marvel movies too, because I think you would make a dang good Vixen. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that superhero, but she has a shortcut, and she kind of looks like she's kind of modeled after, like, I would say, like a younger Holly Berry, like that shortcut look.
I've never heard of her, but when I tell you I would play a superhero too, I want to do it all. Like, you know,
because I heard you.
Like with Atlanta, you know, they film all the Marvel stuff. Most people, that's what people don't understand. Like when they say Atlanta is the new Hollywood, that's true in so many different ways, because they film so much there that people don't realize. Stranger Things is being filmed there. Marvel
in Atlanta
being filmed there. Yeah. They film it in Atlanta, literally. See, that's always the reaction.
Crazy.
Then we obviously have the Empire that is, you know, Tyler Perry's Empire that's there. But there's just so much variety. That's what we mean by Atlanta is the new Hollywood. And then now we have, you know, better opportunities for people that look like us to be in these shows just based off of location, because Atlanta is a mecca for Black people, as we saw in the story of Fight Night, how this night helped Atlanta be put on the map. So that is just
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's funny, if you've never been to Atlanta, you don't realize how Black it is until you go. You don't realize how many, like when I first moved to New York, I used to tell people, I'm like, oh no, babe, if you've never seen Black people successful in a plethora, you need to go to Atlanta. It is literally, it is a culture shock. How many, for me, it's not because I grew up, but people who come, they're always like, wow, there's so many, that Atlanta and DC, there's so many Black people that thrive. And it's just like, there's like lots.
And I love it for the food too, because that was my first time seeing anything like stuffed peach cobbler, egg rolls. I'm like, what a life. Like, this is the life. This is on. I didn't want to go back home. I did not want to go back home. I'm like, I need to figure out a way.
You know, when me and Aaron, we've traveled to multiple places together, but Atlanta is the one place where we were like, I could really see myself moving out of here after being there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's just, it's so homey, you know?
Yes.
And there's
even
so
the
many
airport.
people. It's like you can as soon as you hit that airport, you're like, yep.
I feel it.
Because they're like, welcome to Atlanta, baby.
Yeah, like the Popeyes taste better, all kind of stuff. You know,
where is Miss Juicy Baby? Like that, it's not.
That's what we were looking for.
We were really looking for Miss Juicy Baby. So if we go back, Miss Juicy Baby, can you please? She's the queen
Little
of
Women Atlanta.
She's from Little Women Atlanta.
Okay, the show,
yes. But okay, so speaking of shows, you said that wrapping up, obviously we took too much of your time because it was just so like nice talking to you and listening to the behind the scenes, and your story is so inspirational. So we're gonna wrap this up with like, what are you watching on TV right now? It can be old, it can be new. What has you sucked in right now?
Let me tell y'all something. The Penguin.
Oh, that's her.
Period.
Penguin.
Period.
Baby, listen. And the writers of The Penguin are actually the writers of Fight Night.
What?
Whoa.
I didn't know it either.
I have to look in the credits now. That's crazy.
I literally was watching it and I said, wait a minute. What? I said, it's no wonder I like this damn show. But the
Oh my
Penguin
God.
is so like, the story is
I
just
never
so
would
good.
have thought that.
At all.
Yeah, it goes, and then you know what? It goes to show back to like what I was saying earlier that
Mhm.
like, we have to really stop judging people for the color that they are,
Mm-hmm.
just allowing us to be like, we understand each other because we're both human. Because
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
for the writers of Fight Night are black.
Mm-hmm.
Penguin is not a black show.
At all.
All
And they're
right
doing
now,
a damn
Hollywood.
good job. See, that was just an eye opener for y'all.
No, you don't understand when you just said the Penguin. Like, I am screaming because did you see Sunday's episode?
No, girl.
You have that's what you need to do
And
when we
listen, no, I
finish.
couldn't. So I had a meeting earlier, and I was just like, "Oh, if I get done the meeting early, I'm gonna watch it before I come here." And then I was just like, "Dang, I got time. I'm gonna watch it." So I'm actually gonna watch it when we get off. I'm gonna go watch
Watch
the
it because if
Man.
you thought Sophia Falcone was a bat before, wait until you see this motherfucking
And you
episode.
know what? And that's another thing. It's just so beautiful to see women characters be so.
Complex.
And let me tell you, so Erica, which is the writer, I think, of episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
she was also the writer of Fight Night as well. When we were on set, she was telling me like her biggest note was just like, I don't want Hollywood wants a certain woman, and I don't want to write that type of woman, and I don't want you to play her like that. I want her to be intricate. I want her to be complex, So we're not going to give them what they would expect to. That's why the scenes between me and Taraji are so complex.
Right.
We're not just going to give you 2 black women arguing over a dude. No,
Right.
it's
Deeper than that.
deeper than that. There's a lot more things involved. You know what I'm saying? So like when I even watch the show, I'm like, wow, it is so beautiful because it's always just like the woman in shows and movies are just beautiful and that's it. And then exude sex and that's it. It's just like women actresses, we don't want to just play that kind of role. Like it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so to see things like this and to see her, and she's a beautiful woman, but to just see her not look like what Hollywood has continued to make a lead female look like, and her to play such a complex role, I was just like, dang. I hope I get a turn to do something like that too, because it just looks
and you
fun.
will. Speak it into existence. You will.
Look, amen. Because it's just it allows you to stretch your artistic palette too. Like getting to play. I know that lady is like, she's probably so happy being able to play such a dynamic role.
Especially when they're well received. Like everyone is like, of course, obviously, Colin Farrell is doing great. I mean, I cannot believe that that's the same person. But everyone is talking about Sophia, and then you're gonna love the episode. The whole episode literally peels back those layers. It's all Sophia, and when I say she dressed down, nasty.
Oh, baby, because did you see that tiger trench?
Yes. Yes. And then anytime she wears red, and then when they name her the Hangman, I'm like, period. Because look at how she's dressing.
Now y'all got me wanting to see this. I'm like, I need to see
now
this
you want to watch it?
So good. It is so good. It is so
watch it.
And the characters are just, it's like shining a light on the misfits, which I love. Like I like watching beautiful people like everybody else, but I really like to watch human beings living a life. That's why I also really love Colin Farrell in this as well, because it's just like, dang, he really dug in walk, the talk, like
everything.
Just like his little, he doesn't even say anything. I'm like, this is insane.
And then also like him giving depth to the Penguin, his relationship with his mother, you know, like the way that he, you know, obviously Vic, he has a stutter, and like that's why I know that Vic is going to break my heart. I don't know if he's going to get killed, if he is, I don't know what's going to happen to his character, but I know it's not going to be good because we're watching a Batman story. So like him seeing something in Vic and noticing it and realizing, like, you know, people make fun of you because you stutter. No, he tells him, like, be proud in who you are, take up space, hold your head up high. And I'm like, he's talking to Vic, but he's also like talking to himself. Yeah. And it's just like realizing, like, you know, that a villain most of the time, not all the time, because I just
have enough love.
Yes, it's just so good. It's such a good show.
It's such a complex character.
Exactly.
That's why you can like, and that's when, like, I was listening to some like video, but it's just like, you know, sometimes you can have empathy for the craziest people if you really just look at the amount of love they got in their life.
Right.
And be empathetic, you know, because people like really build monsters with showing a lack of love. You know, we all need love. Like, it's a survival tool.
Nature versus nurture. And it's crazy. Well, Artrece, like, thank you so much, not only for making time for us, but also just taking the time to really peel back what it's like to be a Black woman in Hollywood. You know, you've had smaller roles before, but you have a huge role with huge people. You put your whole heart and soul in this role, and it played out on screen and it seeped into real life. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Whatever you are manifesting, you're going to get times 10 in surplus. And obviously they say that, you know, you make plans and God laughs. So you might be going another way. You don't know where you're going, but thank you so much. Aaron, did you want to ask or add anything before we let her go watch the Penguin?
Yes. Before we let her watch the Penguin. But thank you so much, Artrece. Like, it's been a pleasure. You have blessed us with your words, and you really took the time. Like, we have guests that come on and they give us something, but it's like you took the time and you dedicated that time to us, and we cannot express how much we appreciate that. Where can the people find you? And are you working on anything that you want us to look out for?
Well, I have a few projects in the works right now. I can't talk about anything because, you know, nothing is set in stone till it's set in stone. But hopefully, you know, in the coming weeks, you know, or early next year, I'll be able to talk about some things. But yeah, I mean, I guess everybody can just keep up with me on Instagram, because that's really all I have. At Artrece, that is Artrece Johnson. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you
make
so
sure
much,
you watch Fight.
Yes. Make sure y'all watch Fight Night. Is streaming on Peacock. I don't want to hear no excuses, guys. It is still on, and it still watches the same. You can literally watch all 8 episodes. My mom loved the show. She finished like a few days ago, and she's in love.
Oh.
At first she ain't like all that cussing. And the prostitution. But once y'all got into the story, she loved your character, especially. She was like, oh my God, she knows about Vivian. Ooh, I knew she knew. A woman always knows it. I'm just like, exactly. I'm like, exactly. So thank you so thank you so much for talking to us. And we will be following you, and know that you always have a fan in us. Anytime you want to, you know, if you do have something that you want to speak about that you need to let the masses know about, let us know. We'll, you know, repost in stories. We'll have you on the podcast. And I hope that this is not the last time that we get to talk to you.
It won't be. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you have a good day, and thank you. And thank everyone for listening. If you got here, obviously follow us at Bravo Wild Black, and we'll be back on Saturday to talk about Housewives. Bye.
Bye.